beautiful souls, and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I want to talk about right, Calibri? In this video, I want to share some tips to help you ease into your art making in the new year, or if you had a break. It doesn't have to be, beginning of January. It could be any time. Maybe you stepped away for a few weeks or months or even years, and I want to just encourage you and let you know that that's totally okay, which is why I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite tips for helping you start back strong, create an amazingly consistent studio routine, enjoy the process, become a prolific artist, and get the results you want in your studio. Why is it important for us to have an amazing relationship with our art and to be prolific? Well, of course, art has amazing benefits. Even if you're not doing this to grow your career or make money off of your art, even by practicing making your work, you are already improving your mental health, becoming more present. And art is also a powerful manifesting tool because, what we focus on expands. So if we're focusing on beauty, on creation, that can definitely trickle into other areas of our life as well. So I want to talk to you about this because for me, a few years ago, I had a really hard time getting started. I would stand in front of an empty canvas, or maybe I would get into the studio and I would feel so completely overwhelmed. And so I want to share some tools and techniques to help you navigate the emotional side as well as the practical side, and how to manage your time doing what you love, even if you have a day job, because we all start somewhere. And maybe you love your day job and you have no intention of leaving, but you're having a hard time making space for your work. So before we begin, I just want to give you a little bit about my background. I have been making art for a very long time, ever since I was a little girl. But of course, after college, I decided that I want to become a professional artist, and I started to commit to making work. The way this looked for me was making something every single day. I was committed to, I was so afraid of losing my connection with my paintings, and I thought, oh my gosh, if I stop doing this, I'm gonna get sucked into a boring office job and I'm never gonna paint again. And I had this deep paranoia, which really drove me to creating every day. Now, looking back, wish that I had a little bit more of a healthy relationship and I trusted myself more, because I think when we come from a place of love, possibility, instead of fear of losing something, it creates a better dynamic and it makes us want to show up more. So that positive reinforcement versus negative reinforcement. But at the time, it did serve me in a way that it helped me become more disciplined. And the way that I did this is because I worked multiple day jobs for a few years, I would either get up early and have my coffee and do a morning sketch or watercolor sketch. I had a tiny little moleskin notebook, or I would make sure I have time on my days off or after work. And making time for your art can be a little bit challenging, especially if you're a mom or you have a day job or other responsibilities that take a lot of your time. But the good news is that you don't need a ton of time. I swear to you. I know it sounds crazy when I say, but even just 15 minutes a day can make a huge difference. And as you start building that discipline, you'll be able to create for longer and longer periods of time and eventually get lost in that beautiful flow state where you basically lose track of time and space and you just get so absorbed into your creations. So I want to encourage you to commit and start with as little time, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy or a 6-foot canvas. It could be a tiny sketchbook or a notebook or a collage that you make at least a few days a week. And from there you can build longer hours, longer stretches of time, and eventually have a full day at the studio or at your kitchen table. Wherever it is that you create is perfect. Now, when we get started with making our work, especially after a break, or if we're feeling a little bit frazzled, I definitely felt that way a few times last year when I was getting ready for my solo show. It's really important to regulate our nervous system and make ourselves feel calm and safe in our body as well as with our artwork. And when I first got this studio, which of course I'm so grateful for, I had a really hard time getting started. I would be frozen with anxiety, with overthinking, not knowing where to begin. And I really just had to train myself to get used to being in this space. And the way that I did this, and this is something you can also implement into your studio practice or your ritual, is by creating sort of positive triggers or anchors that can help you get back to feelings of calm, inspiration, things that remind you of a time where you might have been in the flow. So let's do this together now. The first way to create an anchor is really simple. We can use our memory and have that sensory experience of that beautiful state of when maybe we were inspired or maybe we had an amazing time creating something. So let's go ahead and do this together. You can feel free to close your eyes if you want to. And I want you to go back to the time where you felt completely calm, inspired, and in the flow. Can you think of a specific time? I want you to go back to that time, flow back into your body, feel what you felt, see what you saw, hear what you heard, and go ahead and just go back to that time. Take a deep breath. And when you're ready, you can come back to this space. Welcome back. Now, in my coaching practice, when I work with clients, I might have them actually tap on one of their knuckles or hold down an area of their body and actually anchor that emotion so you have access to it. You can of course do this through memory by thinking back to that time that you felt super inspired, or you can tap on that knuckle that you anchored that in and go back to that state of flow and inspiration. This is one of the tools that really helps me come back to that state of possibility, joy, and creativity instead of being frozen with anxiety or overthinking about what I'm going to create. Another amazing tool is tapping. So I'm going to actually record a video on tapping later on, but you can look up EFT and I'll link one of my favorite tapping instructors on YouTube in the show notes, Brad Yates. And tapping is going through all the energy points in the body and helping release that tension and emotion that can be blocking you from showing up and being your best self. Now, the other thing that I love to do in the studio is play music. I have a little cheap Bluetooth player and I play songs that are calm, that inspire me. For you, your music might be different, but I listen to a lot of like instrumental folk, indie music, or even solfeggio sounds or anything that's calming and really great for getting me back into that beautiful calm state. The other part of my ritual as I enter my studio space is, I have quite a lot because I do suffer from a little bit of anxiety. So I created these, positive triggers for myself to help me kind of flow back in there. It is lighting a candle if it's safe to do so, if you don't work with a ton of harsh chemicals, or maybe having an essential oil diffuser, burning a little bit of Palo Santo or sage to clear the energy. And those are just some great ways to ease back in, prepare the space. And then breath work is gonna be the final tip that I'm gonna give you today, because if we feel too nervous, if we feel overwhelmed, if our mind is going a million miles an hour and we can't seem to get started, we're thinking like, what if this fails? Or what if no one buys from me ever again? All kinds of crazy thoughts can come into our mind as we begin the creation process. Trust me, I've been there too, so you're not alone. But the good news is we don't have to stay with those crazy thoughts. We can actually go ahead and find better thoughts. So choosing a better thought. So the way that I like to do my breath work before I begin is honestly just sitting down and slowing down my breath. So for each of us, we're gonna have a different breathing frequency or resonance breathing when we feel calm in our body. So for me, it's typically 4 breaths in and then 6 breaths out. And doing this a few times can really help calm me down, help my racing thoughts, regulate my nervous system, and help me sit down and actually start on a canvas. Or, for you, if you're a ceramicist or a collage artist, whatever it is. Now, everyone's breathing different. Breathing can be different depending on what you're going through. So for example, if you feel really slow and lethargic and tired, maybe actually increasing your breathing frequency, like for example, doing 3 breaths in and 5 breaths out instead, or even faster, can really help you regulate that energy and help build it up. So it's, regulating up or regulating down is what it's called. and it can help you get to that nice, steady, neutral place where you can focus, where you can execute on your brilliant ideas and show up as the best version of yourself. Now, I know that starting a new body of work can be overwhelming, so I do recommend having a consistent practice. Like, for example, having a sketchbook or doing experiments on top of your big portfolio pieces. For example, if you're getting ready for a show or you want to make your first body of work to submit to galleries or museums or juried opportunities. I like to take the pressure off and reclaim my art by making sure I'm carving out even just a few days a week to like play, like even just honestly filling a page with watercolor, which is abstract, random, no purpose. It really helps me feel connected with my work, and it makes me feel like it belongs to me and not to someone else. The other thing that I also want to suggest is, as you are creating, monitor your self-talk. If you have a lot of negative thoughts, maybe pausing, breathing, doing a meditation, or honestly journaling them out can help you confront and address whatever is coming up for you, because they can be super distracting. And what we want for you is to just feel so excited about jumping back into your practice, into your amazing art. So I hope these tips were helpful. I am always working on my mindset. I'm always working on feeling good, because we all have negative thoughts. We all have fears. What if we're not good enough? What if no one ever wants to work with us? Whatever those fears are, we all have a variation of them. And the important thing is to not believe them. So if you struggle with that, I do encourage for you to journal on what's coming up and then implement some of these tools and techniques that I've given you, like tapping, breath work, setting up your space, setting an intention for your practice so that you can show up feeling so good. And then the other thing that I want to remind you of is that there is no time requirement for your success. So some people might work 10 hours a day. Some people might only have 15 minutes a day. And there's of course every other option and variation in between. Not one of those things is going to make you more successful than the other. Whether you come in once a week and do a full day or do 15 minutes a day, that's a personal choice. And I've seen every walk of life, every type of artist with day jobs, artists who are moms, artists who can paint for 10 minutes a day, artists who can have 40 hours a day. And I've seen all of them experience their own degree of success. So please know that whatever season you're in right now is the right season for you. Sometimes we feel pressured to create a certain amount or be in a studio a certain amount. And yes, discipline is so important for us. If you believe in that 10,000 hour rule where you work for 10,000 hours to achieve mastery of your skill, then of course time commitment is important. But the way you get there can vary, and it could be your own unique path with your own unique time commitment. So just be gentle with yourself. Know that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And even if you have an off day or you take a break or you fall off, just come back as soon as you can. Don't stay there. Don't, let negative thoughts or self-pity get you down and distract you from your purpose. For example, if a hiker is tired climbing a mountain and they have to take some time to rest, it doesn't mean that they failed the hike. It just means they took a break. So just pick yourself up and keep walking, keep moving towards your dream of being that incredible artist that you already are. I hope this was inspiring. And inside my membership, the Art Queens, this season, we are doing the 100-day challenge. And what we're gonna do is for 100 days, we're gonna show up and make something, whatever it is, a small painting, a photograph, a collage, a piece of pottery. Every single day, we're gonna show up and make something for 100 days. And you can do this on your own or join us inside the membership, or just follow me along, because I'll be sharing my process and my progress with you. And I hope that you join, because it's so empowering to show up for yourself, even just for a few minutes a day. It can give you confidence, it can improve your skills. And the bonus, the cherry on top, is that you'll always have something to share on Instagram if that's what you're trying to grow as well. I love you so much, and I can't wait to see you in upcoming videos this year.